All right, everyone. Thank you to TUSDtv. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jeffries, and I'm a teacher at Turlock High School. And so I wanted to do something fun with you today, tangentially English related. So I thought that maybe we could write a slam poem together. And so you may not have a lot of experience with slam poetry. It's pretty accessible, and actually it's pretty fun. And so if you're not familiar with a slam poem, it's basically a poem that is meant to be performed. It's not meant to just be read on a page. It's meant for someone to actually speak it, usually live to an audience. And I wanted to pull some examples, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get YouTube onto this PowerPoint. So you're gonna have to suffer, and I'll read to you an excerpt from one of my favorite slam poems. Marshall Jones writes, "Doubled over, we used to sit in treetops till we swung down and stood upright. Then someone slipped a disc. Now we are doubled over at desktops. From the Garden of Eden to the branches of Macintosh, Apple picking has always come at a great cost. iPod, iMac, iPhone, iChat. I can do all of these things without making eye contact. We used to sprint to pick and store blackberries. Now we run to the Sprint store to pick blackberries. It's scary. I can't hear the sound of Mother Nature speaking over all this tweeting, and along with it is our ability to feel as it's fleeting." So you can see that with a slam poem, it's very rhythmic, and it's almost like rap, except that it's done without music. All right. So if you're interested, let's write one together. You only got to answer 7 questions, and you too can write your own slam poem. 7 questions, that's all it takes. All right, here we go. If you have a piece of paper, you could be writing these things down. If not, you could just type it on your phone. Pretty short answers to these 7 questions. So the first question, name a favorite childhood object. So if you had a one-eyed bunny or a toy fish or a snow globe from Boston, you can have a few words, 3 or 4 words is okay, but it needs to be one single thing. So it cannot be plural. It needs to be one single thing. So when I was a kid, I had a plastic ride-on airplane, not exactly like the one pictured in this presentation, but basically it was something that I rode around in the front yard when I was a kid. And I couldn't, like many kids, I didn't know all the words that I was using as a kid. So I said airplane instead of airplane. So my mom always jokes with me that I'd ride around the yard saying airplane, airplane. And so that's one of my childhood objects. So you write down your childhood object. You can always pause this and think about it, come back to it later if you need a second to think. All right, question 2, what's an object that you associate with your mom or another loved one? So try to do just 2 words. So elegant, elegant's another word for fancy. Elegant briefcase, if your mom had maybe an office job. Red apron, if your mom spent a lot of time cooking or baking. Messy bun, if your mom spent a lot of time waking up and putting her hair into a messy bun. And you know, this could also be a sister or an aunt or a grandma, really anybody. I think it helps if it's a woman, but doesn't necessarily have to be. But don't list her job, just something associated with her that really sticks out in your mind. So my mom wore a lot of big sundresses with a lot of bright colors. And so for me, my example, flowy sundress. When I think about my mom, I think about big flowy sundresses. Question 3, well, what about dad, right? So think about your dad or another loved one, and what thing do you associate with him? And also this could be a brother, an uncle, a grandpa. And then using a few words, the examples are business class boarding pass, old t-shirt, can of cashews. Does anybody eat cashews anymore? I can't remember the last time I had a cashew. Name the physical concrete thing, not some abstract concept, okay? So for me, my dad wears this Day Glow sweatshirt all the time. He likes to ride his bike around town. If you live in Turlock, you may have even seen him. He's recently retired and he rides his bike around all day. Well, he says he wears this Day Glow sweatshirt so that people can see him while he's riding his bike, but I think he just likes it. I think it's just kind of his style. And so literally 85 to 90% of the time, and it drives my mom crazy, 90% of the time, my dad is wearing a Day Glow sweatshirt like that. So I'm gonna choose the Day Glow sweatshirt as my object. Question 4, name your favorite character from a well-known children's story or movie. So I threw out a few examples, Moana, Aladdin, either the old one or the new one. And then I know I'm going to start a war here. Is it Hermione or Hermione? I always get called out no matter which one I do from Harry Potter. For me, my current favorite is, I think I might sneeze. Excuse me. I apologize. My current favorite character right now is Hector from Coco. So if you guys have seen Coco, I won't give too much away, but he's an awesome character. I very much related to him throughout the story. And so if you haven't seen Coco, I recommend it. Question 5. What is your favorite animal that you've never actually had as a pet? So you don't want to write something like Peaches, my cat, or Samson, my dog, or Teddy, my goldfish. You need the actual type of animal, and it needs to be an animal that you've never actually had. So if any of you have actually been in my classes, you probably already know that the capybara is my favorite animal. It's the world's largest rodent from Brazil, and it's just a beautiful, I think it's cuddly, a beautiful, cuddly, really, really cute little creature. And there's a picture one for you. So my favorite animal all the way, and my spirit animal, is the capybara. All right, question 6. List 3 adjectives or phrases that are describing you right now. They don't need to all be physical or emotional, maybe a mixture. Don't brag, be honest. What do you like right now? Well, for me, I'm a little stressed out because I got told that I need to make all my classes online in about the course of a week. So, I'm feeling the pressure to kind of change things in a big, big way right now, but I'm surviving. I'm also grateful and hopeful, though. I see good things that are coming our way in the future, and I always try to remain positive. So I'm going to think about the things that I do have and that I'm grateful for, and I'm going to believe, and I'm going to choose to believe that things are going to continue to get better in the future. All right, so you write down your 3 adjectives. Lastly, this one's tricky. What is something that scares you? And in a sentence or two, describe a scene that terrifies you. Write a short description of it. So for me, this has always been my biggest fear. I'm all excited because I go down to the Bahamas or to Mexico or to some coastal place with warm water, and I agree to go out on a boat to go scuba diving. Not hardcore scuba diving like a mile underwater, but just, put on a snorkel and go look at the fish and the reef and stuff like that. And I'm going to get all the way out into the ocean, and eventually there's going to be no more land anywhere in sight, and they're going to get me off this boat, and I'm going to swim around, and when I come back to the surface of the water, the boat's going to be gone, and I'm going to literally be stranded out in the water, and I will literally freak out in terror in a way that I can't imagine anything being worse. I don't think anything scares me more than that. So take a second to think about what scares you, write it down, and then that's it. You wrote a slam poem. Pretty fun, right? No, of course not. I'm going to give you a little bit of a template to plug those things into. So here is the template. You plug in your stuff. For number 1, I was born in the year of the, plug in your number 1. My mother was a, plug in your number 2. And you can change mother, obviously, to aunt, grandma, sister, etc., whatever you need to change it to. And my father was a, plug in your number 3. Obviously, you can change father. Number 4, is it any wonder I grew up a cross between a blank and a blank? You take 4 and 5 and plug them in there. Take a long, hard look at me. I am blank, blank, and blank. You plug in your 3 adjectives for number 6. And then for number 7, is it any wonder that at night I still sometimes have nightmares about blank? All right. And so if you've read any slam poetry or watched any slam poetry, if you have access to YouTube during our break, from being in a physical classroom, you can check out a lot of slam poetry on YouTube. I encourage you to. It kind of has a cadence, and by cadence I mean it kind of has a way of a particular way that you say it. So I'm going to read you mine in just a second, and then you can practice reading yours. All right. Mr. Jeffries slam poem. Here we go. I was born in the year of the plastic airplane. My mother was a flowery sundress, and my father a day-glow sweatshirt. Is it any wonder I grew up a cross between Hector from Coco and a capybara? Take a long, hard look at me. I am stressed out, yet hopeful and grateful. Is it any wonder that at night I still sometimes have nightmares about being left in open water by a scuba boat? So hopefully you had a good time making a slam poem, and we will be out here on TUSDtv. Thanks for listening and watching.